It's time for the whole 9 yards. Hello again, NEC football fans. Autumn has finally arrived and conference play is heating up. We have 3 important Northeast Conference contests on the Week 8 docket. Merrimack and St. Francis are on a bye, but everyone else is in action. Let's examine the matchups in our opening drive. We'll start in New Britain, where 2 teams are looking to snap winless streaks. Central Connecticut suffered a setback in the Nutmeg State rivalry game last week at Sacred Heart. The Blue Devils moved the ball well at times, but were hampered by 12 penalties, and its defense was unable to stop the Sacred Heart rushing attack when it mattered most. Still, the potential for a CCSU breakthrough is there, but don't underestimate the Week 8 opponent. LIU is hungry for a win as well. The Sharks dropped their NEC home opener last week, but running back Jonathan DeBeek showed flashes, averaging 5.6 yards per carry. Will LIU establish the run on the road? Will CCSU kickstart its season? The answers will come on NEC Front Row and the NEC On the Run app. Next up, Rhode Island meets Staten Island as Bryant travels to Wagner. The host Seahawks are coming off a bye week and are looking for their first NEC win under head coach Tom Masella.
Wagner has a lot of familiarity with us. 3 of their coaching staff members were with us in 2019, including their head coach. But they're looking for their first win, and they want their first win. And we've accepted our role. Our role is we're going to have to be road warriors. We're going to have to go on the road and wear the white uniforms and win football games.
Wagner's playmaking defense will have to contend with a Bryant offense that features 4-time NEC Rookie of the Week Zevi Eckhouse. The freshman quarterback threw 2 touchdowns in the final 4 minutes last week against St. Francis as Bryant squeaked out the win to move to 2-1 in conference play.
Again, we're talking about a young man who threw for 10,000 yards in high school. He's been there before. He's done it before. I actually think that's when he's in his element. When we're just lining up in 4 wide receivers and throwing the ball every single play down the field, he's gaining grounds on scrambles. That's his element, to be honest with you. But he is a very good quarterback. He's got great eye discipline when it comes to recognizing the coverage and those very catchable footballs. A lot of those throws were on the dot on that final drive.
Bryant looks for NEC win number 3, while Wagner hopes to break into the W column live on NEC Front Row and the NEC On the Run app. Download it today. And now for the featured game of the week on ESPN3. This one has been 6 months in the making. Last April, Duquesne entered with a perfect regular season record, but Sacred Heart prevailed in the first ever NEC Spring Championship game. It's the first meeting between these 2 rivals since that overtime affair on the Bluff. Now, the scene shifts to Sacred Heart. At 2-0 in NEC play, Duquesne comes off a bye and travels across the league's geographic footprint to battle a 2-1 SHU team.
They run a system, which is why they're very good at what they do. They believe in it. There's not a lot of difficult things to prepare for, except when you have talented football players. They have a really good offensive line, and they're running backs are very, very talented. Defensively, they're very aggressive. They like to play some man coverage, get in your face, and we've prepared over the years for that, different things that we like to do.
A lot of faces are the same on both sides. We'll have plenty more on these two teams as the show rolls on. As for right now, set those notifications for Saturday, 12 noon, Duquesne at Sacred Heart, the rematch, live on ESPN3 and the ESPN app. Paul Dottino, Kevin Gilbride, John Schmelk will have the action live from Fairfield. It's time to check in on the NEC stock market. I'll tell you whose value is on the rise. Bryant has benefited from a number of breakout performances this season. Hence, the Bulldogs have been featured on multiple occasions in our stock rising segment. And here they are again. Wide receiver David Zarilla has been around for a few years. He played in 27 games over his first 3 seasons in Smithfield. And as a senior, he has established himself as an important piece to Bryant's offense. The 6'1", 215-pound pass catcher has made at least 5 receptions in each of the past 3 games. He went for 115 yards in week 6 at Duquesne and followed up by making a career-high 11 catches for 98 yards in the win over St. Francis. He's already logged a career-high 325 receiving yards this fall. He's David Zarilla, and his stock is all the way up. I'm calling the Twitter timeout. To the tweet sheet we go. This one comes from Stats Perform, a leader in Division I FCS coverage. Stats Perform points out that consensus first-team All-American running back Julius Chestnut has been sidelined due to injury, but Sacred Heart's backup plan has delivered. Malik Grant went from being Chestnut's understudy to rushing for 853 yards in 7 games. And yes, that is the highest rushing total in the FCS up until this point this season. So shout out to Stats Perform, shout out to Sacred Heart's Malik Grant, and a shout out to that shoe offensive line. So I hope you've enjoyed our Twitter timeout. Before we go, I would like to remind you to watch Malik Grant and the Pioneers in action. It's Sacred Heart hosting Duquesne Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN3 and the ESPN app. That's amazing. So how about that for consistency? After suffering a season-opening loss at TCU, Duquesne has won 4 games in a row. And it's not the first time it's happened. In fact, the Dukes have won at least 4 games in a row in each of the past 8 seasons. 8 straight seasons, at least 1 4-game win streak. As for the Dukes, they have been a model of consistency atop the conference in recent years. They won the 2018 title. They played in the spring championship game this past April, and they continue to pile up wins under head coach Jerry Schmidt. In fact, you have to go all the way back to 2014 to see the last time Duquesne did not have a winning NEC record. Duquesne enters Saturday's matchup with Sacred Heart, having won 4 in a row. 4-game win streaks have become routine for the Dukes, and stats amazing. So we're almost there, but it's not the end yet. You know I wouldn't let you go without taking a trip into the Chop Shop, where I met up earlier this week with Rick Saratella. Welcome back into the NEC Football Chop Shop. I'm Ralph Ventry. My guest, as always, is Rick Saratella of NFL Draft Bible. Rick is also a scout for the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. Of course, that's the prestigious senior all-star game that will take place this winter in Pasadena, California. And as part of his duties for the NFLPA Bowl and as part of his duties as a football fan, Rick hits the film room every week and goes over to NEC footage. He just got out, and he is going to give us his 3 stars from week 7, and then we'll look ahead to a big-time matchup in week 8. Rick, let's get right to work. Who is player number 1 from week 7?
Let's chop it up, Ralph. We're going to start off in Rhode Island with Zevi. You can drive my Chevy Eckhouse. An incredible fourth quarter comeback, double-digit deficit. You saw him moving and grooving down the field, bringing the Bulldogs back. And I really like the poise, the pocket presence, the leadership, the command. In fact, I had to write Ralph for a hall pass to leave the film room because I was having so much fun watching this young man throwing off the back foot, off balance, off platform, doesn't matter, picking up the first down, moving the chains. He's got wheels when he needs to, Ralph. He's the pride of Culver City. Coming back 18-17 at the end. Luke Samperi sealing the deal with the point after attempt. And Bryant now will travel to Wagner this week. It's a noon affair.
So we have Zevi Eckhouse, freshman quarterback, growing, learning, and really impressing early on as a rookie. Let's keep it on the offensive side of the ball now. Who do you have as player number 2?
We're going to keep the Val trend moving, Ralph. It's the Junkyard Dog, J.D. Dorenzo out of Sacred Heart, the offensive lineman, pride of St. Joseph, the powerhouse in New Jersey, of Hamilton, New Jersey. He leads the way with 373 total yards for the Pioneers. Of course, running back Malik Grant winning the NEC Offensive Player of the Week. It all starts up front with the Junkyard Dog, J.D. Dorenzo, and we'll have more on him later in the show with the NEC marquee matchup, Duquesne at Sacred Heart.
All right, so you're teasing the big matchup for week 8. It's always good to feature a lineman. So we have an offensive tackle in the mix. We have a quarterback in the mix. Let's go over to the defensive side of the ball for Rick's star number 3.
Well, it was a big week for Merrimack, right? And who was out in front of that but the NEC Defensive Player of the Week? He was Nick Martino, making plays all over the backfield, Ralph. 4 tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, quarterback pressures all day long. And in fact, that is Merrimack's first Northeast Conference victory. Nick Martino dancing around in the backfield like Dean Martin. I didn't do this on purpose, folks. There's a lot of vowels floating around on the Chop Shop this week, but Merrimack hosting a very big game this week against Central Connecticut State, coming off a loss. That one at 1 p.m. Eastern.
And of course, Merrimack has been strong up front on defense. A guy like Nick Lennon, and then you had Corey Hagerman, who's actually been out in recent weeks. But Nick Martino, another player getting it done for the Warriors up front. All right, so we have our 3 stars. Now we're looking ahead to week 8. And there is a mouth-watering matchup on the docket. I know where you're going. Tell the people what game you're watching on Saturday.
Oh, baby, we got a good one, Ralph. It's Duquesne taking on Sacred Heart. Duquesne 4-1 coming off the bye. Undefeated in NEC play here, 2-0. Sacred Heart 2-3, still searching for their first victory in Northeast play. And I will say this, Duquesne coming off the bye, last game against Bryant, they come off the winning side there. The sophomore, Darius Parentis, playing at a very high level. And he's finding his favorite target, Cyrus Holder, who's a big, tall target. And he's going to give Sacred Heart a lot of problems. However, we talked about Malik Grant. He now leads the FCS in rushing, Ralph. 853 rushing yards, an unbelievable season. Sacred Heart last week in a 13-minute span put up 24 points unanswered. I like the defensive combination there. Kevin Pepper up front, Chris Outerbridge at the second level. Sacred Heart's got their back against the walls. I don't know. They're trying to avoid their first losing season since 2017. I'm smelling an upset in the making here. I'm going with Sacred Heart.
Of course, this is the rematch from the spring NEC championship game, and Sacred Heart won that one out at Rooney Field, 34-27 in overtime. Duquesne was 4-0 in the regular season going into that championship game. Sacred Heart steals the win and the bid, and now these two sides clash again in the NEC Game of the Week on ESPN3. It's also Rick Saratella's NEC Game of the Week. And as always, we thank Rick for checking into the Chop Shop on a weekly basis. We'll have more NEC football next week. Thank you for watching the NEC Football Chop Shop. So that will do it for our show. 3 conference games on the Week 8 schedule. 2 are available live at necfrontrow.com. And then the featured game of the week, Duquesne at Sacred Heart. You can watch that one on ESPN3 and the ESPN app. Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Whole 9 Yards. I'm Ralph Ventry, and I will see you again next week.